going to get into the topics, man. And we are going to start off with Silent Hill F, which I'm still wondering what the fuck the F's about.
Fukushima.
Is that serious, or are you just fucking?
No, it's a Japanese.
That'd be cool.
I don't know.
It sounded legit. I don't know if that's because I'm racist or you're racist, but that sounded legit. So the assumption was there somewhere somehow. Silent Hill F, boys. So we got another Silent Hill game.
I haven't seen this.
We haven't. Oh, you haven't? All right, you're gonna like this.
I haven't seen it either.
Really? Damn. All right.
Y'all are a bunch of fake gamers.
Seriously, bro. So Silent Hill
F. Grifting.
Silent Hill F is the brand new entry to the Silent Hill franchise. It is not a numbered entry, and the reason for that is because it doesn't take place in the town of Silent Hill. It takes place in an entirely new setting in Japan in the 1960s.
To be fair, they haven't had a numbered entry since the PS2. Like literally every game since PS2 hasn't been a numbered entry, which is wild.
Right, I get that, but I mean, at the end of the day, still people were, when we were hearing about a Silent Hill sequel coming out, people automatically assumed it was going to be like a, the next numbered entry, but it just isn't. I'm
just saying, I'm not holding my breath on Silent Hill 5 anymore. Like we've gotten like 4 Silent Hill games since Silent Hill 4, and none of them have been numbered.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So anyway, so we got a brand new trailer. It's a little under 4 minutes long. Looks interesting. We're gonna play it here right now for those of you who haven't seen it either in the chat or on the panel, and then we can have a discussion about it. And there's also a trigger warning that we're going to discuss the whole drama around that nonsense. So let's play the trailer first. Put the volume up. Here we go.
Peggy 18.
シュウ君、嘘ついてるよね。騙せてると思う?
Really quick question. Anybody here play Fatal Frame?
Oh, Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly is the greatest horror game ever made.
Of course, all the fucking weebs played it. Of course, me, Leon, fucking Sheepsidian. Nobody else played it.
I think I played it, but not very long, vaguely. My brother was really into it.
All right. Well, for those of you that played Fatal Frame,
I have a factory sealed copy in my storage unit of Fatal Frame 2.
Well, for those of you that played Fatal Frame, I think you would probably agree that there's a lot of vibes here for that particular game. Anyway.
ひなこはね、死んだんだよ。
Maybe that's what the F stands for.
This is the crossover we never knew we needed.
ひなこはお友達といつ
Where's the giant black guy breaking that?
I was gonna say, even Silent Hill knows not to destroy the Torii gates. And yet Ubisoft was like, don't worry, we got Yasuke to do it. Don't worry about it. Crazy.
お友達は永遠じゃないのよ。彼らだっていつか必ずあなたを裏切る。あなたが裏切り者と呼ばれたように。ひなこ？あ、ごめん。何？天秤にかける価値があるかどうか、しっかりと判断しなさい。
Pause it when it gets that like I was like when it shows the monster better. Her design is so fucking cool.
Hold on. Did I miss it?
I thought it showed it again. Maybe I thought it showed it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. The only thing it shows is that face at the
at
the jump scare. But I mean, it's very iconic Silent Hill. So every single Silent Hill has that moment where you first discover the monster, and it's this big, thing. And I'm sure that what we just saw there is exactly going to be that same moment in the game where you first discover whatever the creatures are in this particular game.
I already have a theory about the story, but I'll wait until the trailer's over.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
自分でもおかしいと思うの。 自分で自分がわからない感じ。自分の気持ちが自分で理解できない。私かお前の夢の中ってことはないよな。
Creepy as
That's
fuck.
fucking awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what I was
amazing.
thinking of.
Creepy as
Okay.
shit.
Yeah. This is
I thought I showed one more close up.
this is very prototypical Japanese horror. If anybody knows Japanese horror, whether by movies, video games, or manga, anime,
Fucking
you're gonna be right. You're gonna be right up to your alley with this one.
It's a whole different style. Like,
It looks really
compared
good.
to American horror.
Yep. Let me finish it and then we'll talk about it.
ひなこ、もう時間がないのよ。あなたが生かされたということは、ここに至ってもまだ迷いがあるということなのね。あなたがそれに
Lead
悩
pipe
む
is traditionally one of the first weapons you get.
Yeah, they got the typical
もう
metal
尽
pipe.
きかけている。あなたは誰なの？さっきからなんで何もわからないふりをしているの？私はね、
The ending's the
あんたを
best
すぐに
part.
殺すこともできたんだよ。全部奪ったな。全部私から奪ったな。
Not over. Hold on. This is the best part. This is what the trigger warning's
そ
for.
れではお別れを。あなたが幸せをつかんでくれることを願っています。
Oh my god.
That's pretty dope.
That's
Fuck,
legit.
I can't wait for this shit. All right,
Oh,
so
I'm so
That
so.
looks so good.
that's basically it for the trailer. Thoughts?
Hell yeah.
Creep me the fuck
this-
out.
Atreus looks like he has a question. Yes, us white people will answer it since black people, don't traditionally do horror stuff.
Oh my god.
Go ahead. No, Trace, go ahead.
It's woke. It's woke.
The fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, female protagonist
Female.
quote. They replaced a
Replacing the
white
men.
man with a
No
female.
white men.
Oh man,
There's nothing
it's
straight
woke as
about
shit.
this. This shit is
JDA,
woke.
JDA is on it, bro.
Absolutely. She got man jaw.
Excuse me, gamers, comma. Do you think Silent Hill F will be a good game?
Don't forget
He
the
said
comma.
gamers, not
It's woke.
furries.
It will not be a good game. It's woke as fuck. Look at she got man jaw.
No, that shit is angular as fuck, bro. What are you talking about?
That's not a
Yo, how
man.
much you want to
Man
bet
more like
fucking
this.
Can I grift in peace?
Oh
Sure.
man,
I
the thing
expect
is,
you to make a post on Twitter right now saying gamers, comma, with the screenshot, and then say, "Is this what you want?" Guaranteed it goes viral.
just do gamers. Do you agree with replacing that straight white
Yep.
male with this woman?
This Asian, this minority woman, this
Yeah.
this ethnic
All right, come on,
woman.
let's be serious. Fuck those guys, man. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Is this?
No,
How
dude,
are we
this
feeling
looks
about
like
this?
the best Silent Hill game. Obviously, it's a cinematic trailer, so I don't know, but I think this might be the best one since Silent Hill 4.
No,
which
this is
I-
woke.
This
I think
motherfucker
it will
can't
be
serious.
fun. I
Look-
think it will be fun. I can't wait to see what the story is. I really don't know what the story is. I'm wondering who the last person
This
is
might be
going
my
to
first
be.
Silent Hill game. I ain't gonna lie.
But
Let's
it's gonna be fun. I
let's
mean,
be
I
honest.
like Silent Hill games.
Yeah,
and I
let's
think
be
it's gonna
honest. This game looks like it directly competes with the Resident Evil games. That
Mm.
All right,
remake
Cassie, I'm gonna need you to
two-
shut your whore mouth.
look, I'm just saying what it is from a visual
what manner,
perspective. That's
Cassie?
what we have. It looks like it's up there. They're trying to trade blow for blow with Resident Evil, and that's what we want as gamers. We want them
Okay,
to
you mean
compete.
visually.
Yes, from what I'm seeing, like because
Okay.
Silent Hill 2 remake, it looked like it was trying to do that Resident Evil thing, but it didn't look like it was of
Yeah, they were
quality in
straight up
comparison.
aping the
And
Silent
and
Hill
this
2
one-
remake was straight up aping the Capcom remake Resident Evil shit.
Yeah. And
Damn, I
this
think
one
people in the
looked-
chat are taking Atreus serious when he said it was woke. Guys, it's not
We're-
serious.
It's
Are they really?
sarcasm. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody said it's not
Don't-
woke,
don't
dipshit.
take-
It's Silent Hill
don't-
3 woke. Come on, Atreus, what's wrong with you?
Don't take him seriously.
No, I gotta go
Cassie,
Atreus,
yeah,
remember.
Cassie. So how is it competing against it?
Visually, it's on par from what I'm seeing with Resident Evil games. And that's what we want to see, that competition, because I think Silent Hill has the potential to compete with Resident Evil. It's just that, Konami's coming back from basically, committing like gamer
seppuku, like committing seppuku.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's cool to see that they're trying to, throw punches at Capcom, one of the leaders in gaming right now. So.
Well, dude, in the PS1 and PS2 days, I was gonna say games and then days. Anyway, fuck, I just smashed JT this shit.
Hey yo!
In the PS1 and PS2 days, the Silent Hill and Resident Evil were like
why am I getting dragged into this?
Wars. Because you're RoboCop bullshit. They were the Star Wars versus Star Trek of like survival horror. Like those were the two series that were always fans were arguing about and debating and shit. And then Silent Hill took a fucking shit because Konami didn't know how to make anything besides pachinko machines. So I want to see a comeback for this franchise. It's a great.
To be honest with you, Silent Hill was always popular amongst like its niche audience, but it never had mainstream appeal quite like Resident Evil. I think there's potential that Silent Hill could actually be bigger than it ever was. That's crazy to say, but I really think that there's.
I agree with that whole never made mainstream appeal sort of thing. Silent Hill 2 and 3,
look at the sales, brother.
Like,
look at the sales, bro. Compare the sales. It ain't fucking with Resident Evil.
Well, no. Resident Evil is Capcom's highest selling franchise of all time. That's an unfair comparison from my highest slice.
No, it isn't an unfair comparison. It's the same type of sales. It's still survival horror, and Silent Hill ain't fucking with it.
Yeah, but Cass, you don't get live action film adaptations for something that's not mainstream. Like Silent Hill was one of the first. Silent Hill was one of the first video game adaptations.
What, into movies?
Yeah, into a movie, into a blockbuster budget, into a blockbuster film.
We're talking about horror movies. Horror movies are a dime a dozen in general.
Yeah, but my point is, you don't go through a franchise that isn't popular enough to make a movie. You ain't seeing people making no Fatal fucking Frame movie. They haven't made an Obscure the Aftermath movie. They made Resident Evil and Silent Hill movies.
I don't think that talking about film in comparison to video games, I think it's
but if you want to use movies as a comparison, how many Silent Hill movies are there?
2.
How many Resident Evil movies are there?
8.
Too many.
Exactly. So who's more mainstream?
No, wait.
I don't think the conversation was never about.
How many good Silent Hill movies are there?
Yeah,
how many good Resident Evil movies are there?
All right, there's one good Silent Hill movie, and there's no good Resident Evil movie.
Wait. Because I want to defend my boy here. The conversation was never about which one is more mainstream. He was just talking about that Silent Hill had some. It wasn't as big as Resident Evil, but it did have some popularity.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. Is
I mean, if you look
I was
at
just
the
using the
landscape,
argument against you.
if you're looking at the landscape of like horror games in general, the two biggest franchises are Resident Evil and Silent Hill. There are plenty of horror games out there, but they just don't have that same kind of pull that Capcom and Konami, big devs, can pull.
Well, regardless of what's going to be more successful or not, I want to focus more on this particular game, especially if you have experience with previous Silent Hills. So, Leon, you had said before you have an idea what the story might be. You want to elaborate on that?
I think I do. I could be totally wrong, but my thought is that in later Silent Hill games after 4, because for those who don't know the lore of Silent Hill, quick version, basically it's all a cult. Like a cult made the town.
Crazy! Oh my god!
And so in later games you see the cult has expanded or had expanded beyond the actual town of Silent Hill. So I'm thinking, since this is taking place in the 60s in Japan, like this is either the origin of the cult or it's going to show that like they had gone global. And so this will tie into the actual town of Silent Hill because the cult is either spread globally or it originated here, one of the two.
You think they're really going to make it originate in Japan?
I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did stuff like that because
doesn't that kind of
go on?
No, I was just saying, doesn't this kind of cheapen the allure of Silent Hill, the town?
Yes.
Like I feel like if it starts going everywhere and it becomes one of those things, I feel like the whole mystique and allure of the town of Silent Hill kind of gets a little bit washed down.
No, I agree with you completely. And the reason I think that's the route they would go is because of what Cassie said about Resident Evil. I actually do think they're trying to mimic Resident Evil, and that's what Resident Evil 8 did, was it retcon and basically was like, oh,
Yep.
All this umbrella stuff and whatnot turns out came from this one weird ass little village in Spain. Like,
Yeah.
it's totally. And I'm worried they're gonna do the same thing with this, but this game does look fucking dope.
Yeah, I don't know. That's how I felt when I saw it. But I have other thoughts. So anybody else got any thoughts on this? Treyas, you never played Silent Hill, you saying?
Yeah, I never played Silent Hill. I was more of a Resident Evil guy. I thought Silent Hill was because part of the
ironically proving Cassie's point.
Huh?
Nothing. I'm just saying. Anyway, go ahead, go.
I didn't even hear what was said, but no, I mean, like, part of the reason why I never played Silent Hill is because I always looked at it as like one of those because I'm not a big fan of the survival horror aspect of it. Resident Evil always had guns and shit, so I'm willing to shoot myself out of horror situations. So I just never saw Silent Hill as that. But I mean, this looked like the first Silent Hill.
Silent Hill has guns too. It just takes longer to get them than Resident Evil. You usually start out with them, and Silent Hill is usually like 2 or 3 hours into the game before you get your guns.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a conversation going around right now, according to the ESRB, for this game. We'll get to the trigger warning stuff in a second, but the ESRB is supposedly confirming there's going to be no guns in this game. Now, obviously, 1960 Japan, probably no guns, most likely. It's going to be a purely melee Silent Hill. Since you brought up guns, I figured I would mention that.
Which is the first time they've done that, by the way.
You did not just do a dad joke.
No, I was being serious.
Silent Hill Shattered Memories had no weapons, to be fair. So
Shattered Memories.
Right. Do you think they'll still have the dodge option that they have in the remake for Silent Hill 2?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I wouldn't be
Okay.
surprised if they did, primarily because it's the area of gaming that we're in right now. It's like everything just seems a lot easier.
Yeah.
So they want to make things as mainstream, or as they want to cast the widest net possible. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept the dodge system in there for those people who enjoyed the remake.
But this is probably going to follow more of the typical kind of modern gameplay. Guys, I'd be sorry.
Yeah, no, because if you have no guns, then there is no way you can shoot the tougher, the tougher creatures from really far back, and they land the blow, and then you're dead. So
right.
I would
I was
assume.
gonna say, like, I wasn't joking about the crossbow thing. Like, if there are no guns because it's so old, they still could have other types of weapons in the game. I wonder how the ESRB would handle that. It was a serious comment. I wasn't trying to be funny.
Crossbows, spears, pipes. I mean, all
This guy with
sorts
the
of.
fucking
They could have crossbows. Yeah, they could have a crossbow. That makes sense.
Like, it might just be like tools and weapons that don't use a lot of mechanics in them, type thing.
Right.
Maybe. But it's supposedly, according to the ESRB, it's a lot of melee-oriented weapons. So that's why I don't think there's going to be crossbows or bows. But we could, obviously things could change for all I know. I'm just saying what it says. Right. A lot of people were making a big deal about it. Some people were complaining no guns, but I'm like, bro, 1960s, probably not going to have any. Kind of makes sense, just depends, I guess, on the situation.
Well, they might be able to like introduce some fun new play styles as opposed to just copying the cookie cutter formulas that every game has.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to focus more on the survival aspect. I think it's going to focus more on that, like the uneasiness about maybe not fully being able to defend yourself. I don't think that's going to be the focal point of it. It's probably going to be one of the games where, you rather run first instead of like fighting as a last resort, unless it's scripted, boss battle, something along those lines.
I mean, she's a teenage girl, schoolgirl. Yeah. Like, how knowledgeable with armory is she gonna be when it comes to firearms?
She's like 100 pounds.
It doesn't take that much knowledge to just fire a gun.
It's easy to fire a gun. Now, when it runs out of bullets, it's a different story in terms of actually hitting your target.
That's the part of the game where I'm just like, fuck the realism. Just it's a video game, goddammit. Like,
yeah. But here's the thing. If they're not going to have guns in the game, they're going to have to make the other, like the melee aspect fun. Now, if it's fun, it's fun. Like, to me, I love, like, Dead Island 2, for example, when you were hitting enemies, bro, you were ripping their fucking skin and guts out, blood everywhere. Like, that was satisfying. I enjoyed that more than the actual gunplay. So they could potentially make the melee combat way more fun than actual firearms.
A more direct comparison is Silent Hill Origins. You pick up TVs and just start slamming them on their heads. That's funny. I like that.
Wow, that would be fun. Yeah. They could do that.
So then my question for this is, does this feel like Silent Hill 2? Like when you watch this trailer, did you think you were watching? If it didn't have the title in it, obviously, did you think you were watching a Silent Hill game?
No, 100%. Not at all.
Really?
100%. Why is that?
Because Silent Hill, at the end of the day, it's all about atmosphere. Like that is the driving factor. And even without the tagline Silent Hill F, I thought this was a Silent Hill knockoff because like, oh, that's clearly Silent Hill ass atmosphere. It might be in Japan or whatnot, but I probably assume this is a Fatal Frame game copying Silent Hill.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Like when I was looking at it, I feel like just because it has fog, like other horror games have fog, bro.
It's not in the fog so much so as there's one particular shot in the trailer. When she was sidling the wall, and then the wall started getting all those creepy crawly little slit things in it. That is a staple in nearly every Silent Hill game. I was like, that's Silent Hill. That is the moment where I was like, I accept this is a Silent Hill thing.
Counter argument. I watch a lot of Japanese horror. That's pretty much Japanese horror. Like it gave me no Silent Hill.
That's what I was saying. Like I felt like, I don't know. It could be a good Silent Hill game. I'm sure. I know for a fact it's probably going to be a good horror game. There's no doubt about it. Sure. Considering people already, the trigger warning and everything, which again we're going to get into, but I'm sure it's going to be a really good horror game. I just wonder if it's going to be like a good Silent Hill game. That's because there's certain things you kind of come to expect from a Silent Hill game.
Yeah.
Or they could take it in a whole nother direction for all we know. None of us know what the fucking F stands for. I'm sure that'll shine some light a little bit.
I will enjoy like if they explore the main character's psyche. That's one of the hallmarks of what Silent Hill is. Like you explore like why she specifically is like the main character of this game.
I feel like they're showing that though.
That's also Japanese horror. Like the way you said what I said was Japanese horror. Japanese horror is far more psychological than American horror, and so I mean I want to see that. Don't get me wrong, and that's a very Silent Hill thing. But it's a very Silent Hill thing because that's a Japanese horror thing.
Don't you think they're showing that in the trailer though? I feel like they're focusing on Hinako, and clearly like she's having hallucinations, and they even say that in the ESRB. Drug-induced hallucinations, all kinds of shit.
Now, my question is: Are they gonna make her seem like she's a piece of shit, like a lot of the main characters?
Like secretly, she's a fucking murderer.
She's just like a manipulative bitch. You're just like, you know what? That's pretty ballsy. I'll give this game an 8.
Well, I'm pretty sure something must have happened. So probably somebody betrayed her. I mean, she said it was a friend, but then her mom died. It looked like.
She probably killed her family.
So maybe she killed her family and her friends in anger.
Japanese fashion,
yeah, and that's that's part of it. And to answer your question, Hypnotic, like to me, this had elements of Silent Hill, right? Just the coloring of the game that they were using. You mentioned the fog, that's definitely part of it. But the main thing is like you can tell this girl is fucked up. Right, just in Silent 2. So there is that psychological element to it that I think brought that, because usually, I don't know, like Resident Evil games, the people there are not fucked up. In Silent Hill they are.
Yeah, I think like I said, I'm sure it's going to be a great horror game. I really do believe that. I just wonder how it's going to stack up as a Silent Hill game. That's all. That's all I'm basically questioning personally. Otherwise, it looked pretty good.
Check the private chat. I shared a link by GWiz, shared it on X. I don't know if you saw this or not. This is from 21 hours ago. It's all the details from the ESRB specifically. I don't know if you saw it or not, but
I believe I did, just not via this actual tweet. So, but that's fine. I'll bring it up on screen right now. Let's check it out. So, let's get into the ESRB stuff. Here we go, right here, and then we'll do the trigger warning stuff afterwards. So,
it
says Silent Hill F ESRB rating has confirmed the following: enemies include humanoid monsters, mutants, and mythical creatures. Player weapons include axes, crowbars, knives, and Ryan,
spears. Yay!
Holy shit! It's actually there.
Congratulations. You definitely can see yourself now. Some enemy attacks can result in player's character getting impaled in the neck or getting their faces ripped apart. That sounds
good. I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
A character burned alive inside of a cage. A woman branded by a hot iron.
I like it.
I mean, this is like spoiler alert
Hot.
central. Everything that happens
That's
in the
awesome.
game here.
That's awesome.
Well, because the thing is, here's the ironic thing, right? So the ESRB has to list all this stuff in order for people, I don't know, to prevent triggering of people, even though it's going to trigger them just by reading it. But the ironic thing is that by having to list all this stuff, you're literally telling people what's in the fucking game. Like you're spoiling the game.
Yeah, 100%.
Ironically, while you're trying to prevent people from being triggered. So
now let me ask
as soon as
you,
you're playing and one of these starts happening,
you think the ESRB gives a shit about spoiling any game? You think they even care about games? Like
fuck no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
In Trails in Sanu displayed on serving platters and a fantastical celebrational ceremony, a character sawing off her own arm, a character slicing off portions of a character's face during a ritual, which we already saw in the trailer anyway.
Dude, imagine if you were about to go into a haunted house and there was a sign outside that listed every single thing you're about to see before you walked in.
Right.
Lame.
That's actually a great analogy.
Yeah,
Because that's the literal depiction of what's happening here.
That's true.
Concept art depicts a nude mannequin-like character with exposed butt and partially exposed boobs. The character appears in a creature-like form throughout the game.
Who approved this? Who approved this process? My issue is not even with the game itself having anything. It's the ESRB saying all this stuff before. Like, who approved this process? How did it get okayed? And why is everyone just going along with it?
Couldn't tell you.
I guess it's one of those for the greater good kind of.
What a lot of people. What one of the things that kind of pisses me off about this whole thing, about the whole ESRB shit, is the point of horror movies is first time experience. So once that factor is gone, once you watch it the first time, you know what you're expecting. You tell people what to expect, the scares are gone, the horror kind of gets mitigated, and it's just like, now I'm just playing a survival game. Like, you're ruining the experience for people.
I 100% agree.
It's like if the trailer for Alien at the end said, warning, an alien bursts out of somebody's chest in this movie.
Thanks.
Bro. It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. But that's what they're doing now. And yeah, you guys are right. This actually brings up a whole nother conversation about the ESRB, but we can make that a separate thing.
Hold on. Give me I'll be right back.
Yeah. So overall, ESRB is basically saying that, hey, this horror game that you're about to play, it's going to have some really fucking fucked up horror stuff in it. I know, shocking. Perhaps you were picking up this game to buy it, not expecting that. But just so you know, you should expect that. It's kind of weird, bro. ESRB is so fucking ridiculous. So anyway, a lot of what they're saying in here, we saw in the trailer. Some of it we didn't, but some we did. Like about the mannequin character, we did. Yeah.
Oh, I just want to add to that real quick. So, because me and Vex were talking about this, and she made the point that I don't remember what company it was, but there was a company that released a horror game and basically didn't include this nonsense, and they got fucking sued and lost. Basically, some sued for emotional damage or whatever. So a lot of horror games have been doing this disclaimer stuff. Have basically been doing it as a CYA.
Hey, yo, I'm black too. I need the money, so please don't list what's in the game. I will fucking sue the shit out of you.
That's what I was
black.
wondering.
You would die first.
That's true. That's what I was wondering.
Hey,
the only super reason they would put a fucking disclaimer is if they got sued. But even then, you just need a general disclaimer. You don't need all that shit.
I would definitely sue if they didn't.
It depends on what the line is. What is the fine line of being sued and losing? And
I mean, most of the times people settle just so that the lawsuit goes away, because it is more expensive to pay lawyers than it is to settle the case for that. But they're not going out telling people, yes, please self-delete or anything like that. So
between the ESRB and the trigger warning stuff, I think it's safe to say they are trying to cover all their bases. And it's a little bit ridiculous that we live in a world where that has to happen. The fact that somebody would actually sue, you went, it's like going to go watch a horror movie and then suing because you got afraid.
Yes.
Or scared.
Yep.
It's like you know what this is, and you still chose to partake in it.
The other thing is no. Hold on. That's a real case. It wasn't a horror movie. It was a haunted house. There was a fucking chick, because of course it was a woman, who sued a haunted house for scaring her too much.
Yeah.
She paid money to be scared just a little bit. $35,000 or something.
What a fucking snowflake.
I'm about to sue Grand Theft Auto for emotional damage because I'm not rich.
this is why I feel like horror games are a dying art. Just like kind of comedy, stand-up comedy is getting attacked all the time for the same thing. It's because like when you're doing certain things that are based in, you know, the creative space, like horror or comedy, yeah, shit's gonna happen, bro. Comedy, you might get offended. Horror, you might get scared. That's kind of the whole point.
Let me ask a question. Why do you need detailed descriptions as to what transpires within the game when the whole point of the rating is to be is to be an age rating, like a gatekeeping, this person is old enough to play and experience this game. And if you aren't, that's on you. Why do you need, and they saw their arm off at this part of the game? Why are you telling me that? What does this help?
Ironically, the game is rated M, so there's that.
That's my point. So
Yeah.
why
This shit is selling me on the game, low-key, though.
That's what I said in my video. I'm like, this sounds great.
Yeah, it's this in depth with blood and gore. God damn it! I'm really tempted. I'm really bad with horror games, but like zombie games, I love zombie games, and they don't really bother me. But this is like, fuck. I need to like stop being a bitch and maybe fucking try this game. Like, it's just.
Paige, I feel a lot better now that you said that because I'm the exact same way. I can't play horror games. I'm too much of a bitch.
It's like, and another thing, it's like if someone bitches about the game now. If someone bitches,
Wyatt, you can look at Cannibal Corpse albums and shit. Like,
I've listened to Cannibal Corpse. I'm not playing the album now. About to get killed if I walk into that fucking room.
Look, man, this is why video games are the greatest entertainment medium. It's It's so much more interactive than listening to music, than actually watching a movie. Like horror movies don't bother me at all, whether I know what's gonna happen in them or not. It doesn't bother me because it's just you're just watching it. Interacting with a video game, it's like everything depends on your actions, and doing that with a horror game, it strikes me in a way that no other entertainment medium does.
That is, is why I don't watch horror movies for enjoyment very often. Is that exact reason? Is like when you watch a horror movie and people are making all these dumbass decisions and shit like that, you're like, don't go through the door. Of course they go through the door. Like, you wouldn't have done that in your life. But if you're playing a fucking game, you're making decisions that you would make. So like if the zombie gets you, well, shit, that's what I would have done in real life. And it would have fucked me. Like,
so that's why I don't see the protagonist as the good guys. Like, no, Michael Myers, that is who I'm rooting for. Kill all these stupid cocksuckers, please.
A lot of the horror movies, they're based on like, bad decisions and fight or flight moments. Otherwise, you have no horror movie because everybody just leaves.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
But this doesn't address what I brought up. Why do we need the details?
We
Nobody can answer that.
Don't.
Tell me on the game.
The answer is we don't.
And now, guess what? The details are out. So when someone bitches and whines, oh my God, Silent Hill's doing this. It bothered me so much. You should have listened to the trigger warning, cocksucker.
My thing is, if you need a trigger warning for anything, if you're the kind of person that needs a trigger warning for something, or if you're the kind of person that is even remotely having to ask the question of what's in it before you partake in that particular medium, then it's probably not for you.
It's probably
if you have to ask like what's in the horror film before you watch it to gauge whether it's like the level of scary you can handle, you probably shouldn't be watching it. You probably should not be partaking in it.
Not only that, but the people that this trigger warning is for weren't even going to specifically that first thing that they list on the trigger warning is depictions of sexism or whatever like that, or depiction.
Let me bring up the trigger warning. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. Those motherfuckers are going to bitch and moan about that stuff regardless of the.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, and then they had to add the sentence and saying like, "Hey, this is how people were at that time." It's like you don't need to tell me that. I don't. You really don't care.
Good. It was a better time, assholes.
Back when we could call people retards. Oh no, wait, I still do.
Absolutely.
I call them way worse than that, but I think Atreus wants to say something.
No.
Yes. No. Before we get into it.
Wow.
Okay, I guess not. All right, so we got the trigger warning on screen. So it says, please read before playing. This game contains depictions of the following: gender discrimination, child abuse, bullying, drug-induced hallucinations, torture, and graphic violence. This game is set in Japan in the 1960s and contains depictions based. Hold on, let me finish. Depictions based on the customs and culture of that time. These depictions do not reflect the opinions or values of the developers or any individuals involved. If you feel uncomfortable at any point while playing, please take a break from playing or speak to someone you trust.
You know what this reminds me of? Assassin's Creed. This is very similar to the disclaimer that goes on in every Assassin's Creed game. They talk about like, hey, this stuff is gonna hear. I mean, it's not this specific either, but it goes on to say these are not our views, and then they go further and say this game was created by a lot of developers or diverse backgrounds, different races, different countries, blah blah. Every time I read it when I used to play that game, I was like, why? I don't.
Why we call it ass Creed.
I think it's amazing that we live in a world now where people that make something, creatives, when they make something, they have to apologize for it. These motherfuckers are apologizing for the game they're about to deliver to you. And it's like, are you serious? Right? You're making a horror game and you're out here before people even get it in their hands, and you're apologizing beforehand. You're like, please don't think this is what we really think. It's like, bro, it's a fucking horror game in the 1960s.
I don't know. The thing that got me was that in this trailer, we see like a broken skeleton bitch walking all creaky and like blood and like it just mentioned there's like sacrifices all over the place. The first thing it's warning about is gender discrimination.
Yeah.
All of the demons ripping fucking skin off of their face. That's fine. Gender discrimination. Be careful.
Funny how they didn't mention any racism because there ain't no black people in 1960s Japan.
Well,
I guess.
fucking rip.
I have a question, and it's going to sound pretty paradoxical, but what happens if I have a mental illness that triggers me if there's a trigger warning? Like a trigger warning is triggering me, and I don't want that trigger warning in my
there's
game.
Research into trigger warnings. There's research into trigger warnings that says that people actually do get triggered from trigger warnings, and that they are inherently doing worse for people than better.
That's my point. So why do the trigger warnings get to win out? Who is deciding that?
People that aren't triggered by things but want to virtue signal and pretend as if they understand and want to think for everybody else. So they're like, let's think of those that are triggered, even though nobody said they were. They're like, let's think of those people. Who's those people? I don't know, but let's do it anyway.
Let's do it anyway, just to cover our ass. I talked about this on my live stream the other day with the Chrono Trigger warning, and how that game has a trigger warning, and there's literally no reason for it. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
No trigger warning.
Yeah,
I actually think it's hilarious that a game called Chrono Trigger has a trigger warning. But anyway,
well, here's the ultimate
warning.
Why I get triggered by trigger warnings. And I know it sounds like I'm being ridiculous here, but I look at a trigger warning as almost like a gateway drug to real censorship. When you start doing stuff like this, it's a way to start enabling people, to empower them to start censoring things. So fuck out of here with your trigger warnings.
Damn, you heard the Italian come out with that one.
Sorry, so I'm just
out of here.
Trigger warnings.
Fuck out of here.
Okay? I am triggered by trigger warnings.
I know that when I was playing Silent Hill 2 and I saw the warning they had, which is obviously not as extensive and idiotic as this warning is, I was laughing for 10 minutes straight because of how stupid it was. It's so fucking retarded. I was laughing. I was like, why do you need this? And I went back and closed the game, opened it up again to read the trigger warning again, and then that got me laughing for even longer. It was retarded.
Atreus, what were you saying before?
It's out of context now.
How's it out of context now? We're still talking about Silent Hill.
Because I don't remember everything that I was going to say the moment I was trying to respond to something you were saying, and I said that I know what you're saying. I said that I feel like they're apologizing for their work before they even get it in people's hands. Oh, right. No, I didn't see it as that. I saw them more like doing this. I can't believe we're doing this retarded ass shit, but we have to. So let's put it in there because they know that a lot of people are fucking retarded. So I didn't see it as them apologizing. It was more like, let me put this warning out there for you fucking retards that are offended by everything.
You know, I think unfortunately, we live in a society that does absolutely zero research at all. To the point where, like, they feel as though they need to actually put a disclaimer in front of, for example, Gone with the Wind.
I'm
You know what the
up
irony
there
with
too.
that is the people that don't do the research are the same ones that aren't going to read the trigger warning anyway because they don't do any research. So what's the point of it?
I mean, well, if they're going to view the content, it's going to be in the beginning of said content.
Yeah,
So
how
it
many
just is
people
what it
do
is
you
on
know
their
have
front.
ever read the FBI warning before a movie back in the day? How
I
many
mean, but
people actually-
usually trigger warnings aren't really as long. so.
I don't know.
Fair
I've seen
enough.
some
Yeah,
pretty ridiculous
I-
ones.
I mean, but once you've
Here's
seen
why I kinda-
an FBI warning, it's the same thing on every single
Yeah.
release.
I mean,
so
to be
Blue
fair, I
screen.
look at
And
trigger
here's what I
warnings
don't
and
think
it's the
is
same
correct
thing on
what
every
Trace
trigger
was
warning to
saying.
me.
What's that,
I
Leon?
don't think it's like a let's just shit it out whatever because we have to do it. I would agree if it weren't for that last fucking sentence. If you
Mhm.
feel uncomfortable at any point while playing, take a break from playing or speak to someone you trust. What pedantic,
That's the gayest
coddling,
thing I've ever heard.
bitch-made, almost game
But that
over.
doesn't
Those
necessarily
people
mean
should not be playing horror games. If that
No.
happens,
yeah, it's such a weird way to go about
But-
things. It's
but
like
that
if you
doesn't-
feel uncomfortable with any of this, then this game isn't for
And
you.
that's
Would be more
assuming you-
preferable.
It's assuming you trust the right people in your life.
But
too.
that doesn't necessarily mean that they're apologizing for what they're saying. That just means that they're being told to say something. That does because the way I read that is like I can't believe we have to fucking write this, but like they can't talk like we talk. They can't tell people like, hey, listen, if this game makes you uncomfortable, fuck off. They can't
Well,
say that.
I mean, we have
Sure
to
they
come
can.
to a reality that
I don't know. I
that
feel
these
like John
are
Romero would do that.
Hold on, one at a time.
we have to come to the reality that these are capitalists. They are trying to make money. They're trying to sell as many copies of the game as possible. So they don't want to necessarily disinvite people from the game. But that's also the problem too. We don't live in a perfect world where there's one or the other. There's just too much gray area. They would love to be able to sell copies to even people that don't have the fucking balls to play the game because at the end of the day, that's money in their pocket.
The
Yeah.
the issue, the overarching issue at that point then would be just like the government and all that extra shit that basically says do it or or you basically get like no funding to get your shit done.
Well, you know what this stuff is too? This is additional wasted money. They're paying someone to not just write this, but insert it. Take time to edit the game, put a cutscene in the beginning, put all this shit in. Like this costs money, it costs time. And it's like for who? What are we doing this for?
What costs more money, the lawsuit or doing this?
Well, that's true. That's true. But,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
I mean, look at for example, Michael Jackson. Dude paid out the person so that he can go do his tour because missing out on the tour to deal with a lawsuit in court would have basically made him lose out on
more
A
money.
lot of money.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to
And-
just balance what would you lose money most doing?
Well,
Also-
sometimes some people get stuck on the principle. Sometimes it's
Well,
not about the money.
Smash. That's what I'm about. The principle is this is not out of the ordinary for horror games. If you go play the original Resident Evil games on PS1, they all start with a flash screen that says, warning, this game contains scenes of explicit violence and gore. And that's all it says. Now,
well, it should
how
say.
much of that is because the ESRB makes them do that? And to be fair, I talk about this a lot more in the video today, so I don't want to spoil it for all y'all that are going to go watch it after the stream. But the point I'm trying to make is it's more about the intent than the message itself. I don't care about a quote unquote trigger warning so much so as I care about why did you put it there. And if you put it there because you are okay with fostering a soft, bitch-made, baby-ass society, then that's a problem for me. If you're putting it there
they may
because,
not, but wait a minute. We just got finished talking about them being a capitalist, right? They may not be with that, but if they're forced to do that, if the decision is coming from
that's
higher
what I
up,
was about to say. If you're doing it because you're forced to, if you're doing it because basically, if you're ideologically saying like we need to acknowledge these triggered people because that's the right morally virtuous thing to do, I have a problem with it. If you're doing it because we gotta fucking do it, make money, I have much less of an issue with it.
I understand that, but I still have an issue with both of them. And going back to
That's why I
Hypno's-
said much less of an issue.
Right,
not
right.
no.
But going back to Hypno's point, someone needs to explain to me why it's not okay to just go with the blanket. This game contains explicit scenes of violence and gore, and just leave it at that.
Yeah,
Why do you need to start doing this bullshit of find your safe space and talk to someone you trust and turn the game off for a little? What the fuck are we doing here? What's going to be 10 years from now if this is the direction it's going?
Rounding off the
I agree.
edges and corners of society is an inherently negative thing, whether it be video games or movies or political discourse or the internet. Rounded corners are fucking they're for bitches.
10 years from now, the trigger warning is going to be longer than the fucking script.
Right. There'll be a game. Mark my
For
words.
real, yeah.
Mark my words. There will be a game called Trigger Warning, and it will just be about this shit.
Nonstop.
That sounds like a fun game.
Let me jump on Steam real quick and find it.
It's
Yeah,
the scariest
crazy.
game on the planet. Trigger Warning.
Do spears offend you? Don't play this game.
But I mean,
You're
that's
scared by horror? Don't play this game. Don't
That's
like
where we're-
horror? Don't buy the game.
that's where we're at with this. I mean, at the end of the day, man, you know, I hope it's a good Silent Hill game. I really do. And the ironic thing about the trigger warning stuff, especially this, I mean, the ironic thing about this is that I feel like it is leading me to more so believe that this game is actually going to be disgustingly scary, or at least uneasy, like typical Japanese horror, which is what I want.
We didn't talk about one specific thing. For me
What's that?
personally, whatever protects, like the thing is, times change, things change. Creators are put in situations that they don't have control over because they don't control the world, right?
Yeah.
To me, at whatever point, whatever protects the artistic integrity of the game, like that's what I'm at least happy about that. Because, like, for example, you know, there's been like movies, entertainment that have been censored, and that's a huge problem. Like the French Connection, for example, they say, you know, the gay F slur, and apparently that's cut out of recent releases.
Yep.
Of this
Silent
film.
Hill 2. No, we can use Silent Hill as an
crazy.
example. Silent Hill 2, Bloober Team, the remake, they literally said a year before the game came out, we're toning down the horror from the original version because of today's modern audiences. That's why to this day I have not played the Silent Hill 2
They
remake
did.
because they said they were toning down the horror.
They censored
They've
the
already
sexual
done it
assault
with
scenes
this
too.
franchise. Sorry, go on.
No, I was
Yeah,
gonna say, I'm backing you up. They
problem-
censored the sexual assault scenes too, from Pyramid Head, so you don't even
Really?
see it. You don't see it
Yeah.
happen on screen.
That stuff pisses me
Wow.
off so much. Like,
See,
It
what
just
is
it
going
kind
on?
of
that's
just
more-
goes off screen.
That to me, that's the real issue that bothers me more than anything else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Artistic integrity of the remake was not preserved, and that's to me the more important discussion.
Yeah, 100%. And in here, so it brings up a question, right? I know it sucks you have to make this kind of decision, but now it's like you either take the trigger warning and let the game be creatively free, which I hopefully is what's happening here. We still don't know, or you don't take the trigger warning because there's nothing for you to be warned about in the game because it's already it's a toned down horror game and it's basically like baby's first horror game. So that's kind of like the choice that they seem to be leaving us with, because these trigger warnings, like I said, unironically, they're making me think, and we could be wrong. Obviously, it could be a fucking non-scary game. But these trigger warnings and the fact that they're going so in depth with it, like so descriptive with it, tells me like they really trying to warn every motherfucker, like, hey, this might not be the game for you if you are triggered by literally any of this. And the fact that they said that there's going to be gender discrimination, woman cuts her arm off, gets fucking branded with an iron. I mean, it's clear that the
These are all
girls are going to get
selling
fucking
points.
abused. The girls are going to get abused in the game. Let's just be real. That's what's going to happen. The girls are going to get abused in the game.
Good.
Whatever her name is, Hinako or whatever.
Based.
Gonna be abused, gonna be all kinds of fucked up, and they're trying to be like, oh, we love women. Don't, it's just, that's just what we want to creatively do. We wanted to take out our frustrations and beat the shit out of some Asians, like Yasuke's doing. You know what I mean?
Why you
If
why you
Yasuke
writing
gets to do it,
story?
why can't we do it?
If that's the case, it must have been a bunch of black people worked on this game then.
Oh, 100%.
Why you writing a story at that point? Like if you have to
do
tell
we-
people, hey, like if you want to experience our story, feel free to, but just know that if any of these things bother you, you're not going to enjoy the story, and you should find a safe space. You should talk to a friend, talk to your neighbor, talk to your pet rock. But we
Talk to
genuinely
your pet
apologize
rock.
for what we're about to put out. Like we honestly I don't know why we even wrote this story. You know what? Don't even buy it. Like that's what they should do.
Like they know,
Even
like
buy
they know, the gaming industry is now led by tourists. A lot of the biggest streamers
yeah.
are fucking
Yeah.
tourists, and they know that their viewers are a lot of brain dead, drones that just go along with whatever, and they know that. Unfortunately, this is
true.
what happens with my favorite entertainment medium having gone mainstream.
So fucking true.
You
It
know-
actually
you know-
hurts.
You want to know what the cleanest line in cinema was from 2024? When
What's
Dr.
that?
When Dr. Robotnik said, "I can't believe this," and his grandfather said, "I know, a woman in the military." That shit had me rolling.
I was sitting next to a fucking blue-haired Wookiee in the theater, and
Oh my God, that's
audibly
awesome.
laughed out loud at that line, and she mean mugged me like a son of a bitch. It was so great.
That shit had me fucking rolling, bro.
That's awesome.
Based,
You
unbelievably
need more like
based.
that.
Man. Well,
But
I just hope that it's a good game. That's all I can hope for.
100%. Final thoughts on Silent Hill F? I still want to know what the F is.
Yeah. Final thoughts that Silent Hill as a franchise has been a dark place for years. Like, we've not gotten a legit Silent Hill game, and I'm not counting Silent Hill 2 remake because that wasn't fucking done by Konami.
I wouldn't count that.
Silent Hill game. We have not gotten a legit Silent Hill game since the PS3. Silent Hills got fucked on the PS4, and have we even gotten a Silent Hill game since the canceled Silent Hills? Like, PT was shaping up to be a fucking banger, and this franchise has been so disgustingly mistreated that Resi Evil might be my favorite series of all time, video game wise, but I am begging for this to be the ultimate dub because Silent Hill is just it deserves it. It's disgusting how mistreated it's been.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot more they could do with it. I got to be honest with you. When I saw Silent Hill F, even though it looked great for like a horror game, I did not expect that. Like when they were talking about making a new Silent Hill game, that's not what I expected personally. I don't know about you guys, but
This blindsided me. I didn't even know they were making a new Silent Hill game. I mean, I thought they'd do the Resident Evil route of just remaking the old games. Like, this came out, and maybe there was announcements about this in the past, and I just didn't see them or whatever. But this trailer and this reveal totally blindsided me.
Yeah, there was
likewise with Konami's Redemption.
Well, Konami has openly stated that they are definitely doing a bunch of different projects revolving around Silent Hill, so they definitely are pushing to at least compete with Capcom and Resident Evil. It's been a thing on their plans for a while now.
Yeah.
Okay, saw those sales numbers and thought, oh, maybe we should take this franchise seriously again.
Yeah.
Don't go back to making pachinko machines. What the fuck
Well,
were you
there's
guys
something going
thinking?
on. There's something going on with Konami. I heard something. I kind of hesitate to even talk because I don't know enough about it. But something about the heir to the throne, the son of the dad that
They
made
must
it,
have
doesn't.
gone through a regime change.
Well, the guy that's
through
taking it
terms
over
about
doesn't
that.
give a shit about video games. Is basically the long and the short
What a
of it.
surprise.
Yeah, I mean, could you tell?